Deep in the heart of the wilderness, where towering trees guard the secrets of the wild, a distressing sound pierces the morning air. A tiny voice, filled with fear, a cry for help. It is weak but desperate, echoing through the dense forest, bouncing off the trunks of ancient trees. Leaves rustle as unseen creatures pause, their instincts sensing distress. Somewhere, hidden within the thick undergrowth, a life is in danger. A baby bear, lost, helpless, and trapped in an unforgiving place, struggles to break free. Its small body trembles, exhausted from its attempts to escape, its tiny paws scratching at the cold, unyielding earth. But there is no way out. Above, its mother paces anxiously, her dark eyes filled with desperation. She grunts softly, torn between the primal urge to protect her cub and the fear that approaching too closely might worsen its plight. Her powerful claws dig into the dirt, frustration clear in every movement. She lets out a deep, sorrowful growl, a call that carries through the trees, one that speaks of fear, urgency, and helplessness. The forest, usually alive with the sounds of chirping birds and rustling leaves, seems to pause. The trees stand silent. The wind holds its breath, as if the entire wilderness is waiting for fate to decide whether this young cub will be saved or lost forever. But fate has a way of weaving unexpected stories, of turning tragedy into triumph. At this very moment, footsteps approach in the distance. Unbeknownst to the struggling cub, help is closer than it seems. Someone, something, is about to stumble upon this desperate scene. And in the next few moments, lives will change forever. The forest floor is damp, covered in a thick layer of fallen leaves and moss. Sunlight barely reaches through the towering canopy above, casting eerie shadows that shift with the breeze. But amidst the stillness, there is movement. A group of hikers dressed in earth-toned gear tread carefully along a narrow trail, their boots crunching softly against the ground. They are deep in the wilderness, far from any signs of human civilization, enjoying the solitude of nature. But then, they hear it. A sound that doesn't belong. A high-pitched, trembling cry. It cuts through the natural harmony of the woods, raw and filled with fear. The hikers stop in their tracks, exchanging uncertain glances. It's faint, but unmistakable. Something is in trouble. One of them steps forward, cupping a hand around their ear, trying to pinpoint the source. Another takes a cautious step toward the undergrowth. Then they hear it again, louder this time. Urgent. Desperate. They push through the thick bushes, following the sound. The forest closes in around them, the air thick with the scent of damp earth and pine. Their hearts begin to race, not out of fear, but out of anticipation. What kind of creature is making that sound? Is it hurt? Is it alone? Then suddenly, the trees open up into a small clearing, and there, just a few feet ahead, they see it. A baby bear, no bigger than a large dog, trapped at the bottom of a deep crevice. Its fur is matted with dirt, its tiny claws scrabbling against the sides of the pit, trying to climb out. But it's no use. The walls are too steep, and with every failed attempt, the cub's strength fades. It lets out another heart-wrenching cry, its black eyes wide with fear. The hikers freeze, their breath catching in their throats. A trapped bear cub, vulnerable, helpless. But before they can even take a step forward, a deep, guttural growl stops them in their tracks. Just beyond the clearing, partially hidden behind the trees, stands the mother bear. She is massive, her thick fur bristling, her powerful muscles tense with worry. Her dark eyes lock onto the hikers, filled with both fear and warning. She knows her baby is in danger, but she doesn't know if these strangers are friend or foe. She takes a slow, deliberate step forward, her massive paws sinking into the earth. The hikers don't move. Their instincts scream at them to back away, to avoid provoking her. A protective mother bear is one of the most dangerous creatures in the wild. But they also know the truth. The cub cannot escape on its own. If they don't act, it won't survive. The air grows thick with tension, a silent standoff between human and beast. The mother bear growls again, lower this time, uncertain. The hikers glance at one another. They have a choice to make: walk away, or risk everything to save the cub. Time is running out, and they need a plan. The air is heavy with tension, the hikers standing frozen as the mother bear watches their every move. Her massive body remains still, but her deep, rumbling growl is a warning. One wrong step, and she will not hesitate to defend her cub. The baby bear lets out another desperate cry, its tiny paws slipping against the dirt as it struggles in vain to escape. The hikers exchange glances, their minds racing. They know they can't just leave. If they turn away now, the cub won't survive. But if they move too quickly, the mother bear could see them as a threat. They need a plan, and they need one fast. One of the hikers, a wildlife enthusiast, takes a cautious step back, whispering to the others, "We have to distract her. If we can get her to move away, we might have a chance to help the cub." Another hiker nods, reaching into their backpack and pulling out a granola bar, the closest thing to food they have. Slowly, they unwrap it, the scent of oats and honey drifting into the air. The mother bear's ears twitch, her eyes briefly shifting toward the small offering. It's not much, but it's enough to catch her attention. The hiker gently tosses the bar a few feet away. The bear hesitates, sniffing the air, but she doesn't move. She's too focused on her cub. The plan isn't working. They need to try something else. One of the hikers picks up a stick and throws it toward the trees, making a rustling sound in the distance. The mother bear's ears perk up, her head turning slightly. Then another sound. One of the hikers claps their hands, mimicking the noise of an animal moving through the brush. The bear takes a cautious step toward the distraction, her attention momentarily divided. It's risky, but it's their chance. Another hiker, heart pounding, kneels near the edge of the pit and reaches into their backpack, pulling out a rope. They quickly loop it, making a makeshift harness. "If we can lower this down, maybe the cub can grab onto it," they whisper. But there's a problem. The cub is too weak, too frightened to hold on. They need another way. One of them carefully climbs down partway, gripping the roots along the side of the pit for balance. The baby bear flinches, pressing itself against the dirt wall, its tiny body shaking. "It's okay, little one," the hiker whispers, keeping their voice low and gentle. Slowly, they inch closer, careful not to startle the cub. The mother bear lets out another deep growl, shifting uneasily. The other hikers continue their distraction, clapping and moving carefully to keep her focus away from the rescue attempt. The hiker in the pit finally reaches the cub, their hands just inches away. But then, the earth beneath them shifts. A small section of dirt crumbles, sending a cloud of dust into the air. The mother bear stiffens. The hikers hold their breath. For a moment, everything is still. And then, the mother bear takes a step forward, her muscles tensed, her eyes locked onto the rescuer. The hikers have seconds to act before everything goes terribly wrong. The mother bear's deep, rumbling growl sends a shiver through the group. She shifts her weight forward, her massive paws pressing into the dirt. Her patience is wearing thin. The rescuers know they have only seconds before she decides they are a threat. The hiker inside the pit doesn't move, barely breathing as they extend a shaking hand toward the cub. The little bear flinches but doesn't resist. It's too exhausted, too weak to fight. The hiker gently loops the rope around its small body, tightening it just enough to keep the cub secure. Above, another rescuer grips the rope, bracing themselves. "We've got you, little one," the hiker whispers, voice calm despite the fear pounding in their chest. The cub lets out a soft, tired whimper as the team begins to pull. The rope tightens, lifting the cub inch by inch. Dirt crumbles beneath its small paws as it rises, the hikers moving carefully, their muscles straining. Every second feels like an eternity. The mother bear lets out another warning growl, stepping closer. Her massive frame looms over the pit, her dark eyes locked onto the tiny form of her cub. One wrong move, and she could charge. The hikers keep their voices low, reassuring, trying not to startle her. Then, just as the cub nears the edge, disaster strikes. The rope suddenly slips. The cub lets out a terrified cry as it drops slightly, its claws scrambling to hold onto the side of the pit. The mother bear rears up on her hind legs, letting out a thunderous roar. The hikers freeze, hearts pounding. This is it. One final chance before everything falls apart. Thinking fast, one of the hikers lunges forward, grabbing the rope with both hands and pulling with all their strength. Another joins in, then another. Together, they strain against the weight, determined not to let go. The cub, sensing freedom, kicks its legs, helping as much as it can. The mother bear lowers herself, tense but no longer growling. Watching, waiting. And then, with one last heave, the cub is lifted over the edge. It stumbles forward, collapsing onto the soft dirt, breathing heavily. For a split second, everything is still. Then, the mother bear rushes forward. The hikers hold their breath, bracing for the worst. But instead of attacking, she does something unexpected. She nuzzles her cub, sniffing it, checking it over. The cub lets out a soft, tired whimper, pressing itself against her warm fur. The mother bear exhales, a deep sound that almost seems relieved. The hikers step back slowly, hands still gripping the rope, muscles aching from the effort. They know they can't stay. They have done what they came to do. As quietly as they arrived, they begin to retreat, their eyes never leaving the mother bear. She watches them go, her large frame still tense, but she makes no move to follow. Instead, she gently nudges her cub, encouraging it to stand. With shaky legs, the little bear follows its mother into the trees, disappearing into the thick wilderness. The hikers let out the breath they didn't realize they were holding. They exchanged glances, exhaustion and disbelief washing over them. They did it. They saved the cub, and in return, they witnessed something incredible. The raw, powerful bond between a mother and her child. As they turn to leave, one thought lingers in their minds. Today, they were not just visitors in the wild. They were part of something greater. The forest is silent again, the tension that once filled the air now replaced by a quiet sense of relief. The hikers stand for a moment, watching the last traces of the mother bear and her cub vanish into the dense trees. Their hearts are still pounding, their bodies aching from the effort, but a deep sense of accomplishment washes over them. They saved a life today. A small, fragile life that might not have survived without their help. One of them exhales, shaking their head in disbelief. "I can't believe we actually did that," they murmur. Another chuckles softly, still gripping the rope tightly, as if their hands haven't yet realized the danger is over. "Neither can I. That was intense." But beyond the exhaustion and adrenaline, something else lingers. An unspoken understanding of the moment they just experienced. They weren't just rescuers. They were witnesses to something powerful, a mother's unwavering love and the fragile yet unbreakable thread that connects all living creatures. As they pack up their gear, one of the hikers turns back for one last look at the forest, where the mother bear and her cub have disappeared. They wonder if the little one will remember this day, if it will grow stronger, learn from this struggle, and live a full life in the wild. Maybe, years from now, that same cub will roam these woods as a powerful bear, a survivor of a moment that could have ended so differently. The thought brings a small smile to their face. Nature is unpredictable, often brutal, but sometimes, just sometimes, there is room for kindness, for second chances. As they make their way back to the trail, the weight of the experience settles in. This wasn't just an adventure or a thrilling story to tell, it was a reminder. A reminder that the wild isn't separate from us. It's a world of its own, filled with struggle, love, and moments of incredible bravery, not just from humans, but from the animals that call it home. And in that moment, under the towering trees and the fading golden light, the hikers know one thing for sure: they will never forget this day. Wildlife needs our respect, our protection, and sometimes our help. If we take the time to understand and coexist rather than fear and destroy, the world will be a better place, not just for them, but for all of us. If you believe in the power of compassion, in the beauty of nature, and in the importance of protecting the wild, consider supporting wildlife conservation efforts. Every small action makes a difference. And if this story moved you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Because out there, in the heart of the wilderness, there are still countless stories waiting to be told. If this story moved you, if it made you hold your breath, if it reminded you of the incredible bond that exists in the wild, then let's make sure more stories like this are heard. Nature is filled with struggles, triumphs, and moments of pure heart, moments that deserve to be shared. So if you haven't already, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an incredible rescue, an inspiring survival story, or an unbelievable moment from the animal kingdom. But beyond just watching, you can make a real difference. Every day, animals around the world face dangers, from habitat destruction to poaching to environmental threats. Organizations dedicated to wildlife conservation work tirelessly to protect creatures like this little bear cub. If you want to help, consider supporting wildlife rescue groups, national parks, or conservation efforts in your area. Even small actions like spreading awareness or making eco-friendly choices can create a ripple effect, because every life, big or small, matters. And if you love stories like this, there's more to come. Imagine what happens when a lion comes face to face with a lost child in the wild, or when an elephant risks everything to save its herd. Those stories are waiting for you, and we can't wait to share them. So stay tuned and remember, sometimes the smallest act of kindness can change a life forever. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next adventure.